The day started bright. Families laid out picnic blankets, dogs ran off leash, and the park was filled with sounds of summer. In a quiet corner near the tree line, Robbie, age 7, chased a red balloon that drifted lazily out of reach. His. Mother watched from a nearby bench, smiling. A blink, a glance at her phone, and Robbie was gone. She called his name once, twice before, her voice cracked into screams. People ran, police sirens followed, and Holloridge Park turned into a crime scene. All they found was a deflated red balloon tangled in a bench rail and a streak of smeared red paint across a nearby oak tree. Oddly shaped footprints, almost like bear clown shoes, trailed into the woods and disappeared without a trace. No blood, no fibers, no signs of struggle. Parents in Holloridge clutched their children tighter that night. But the children? They spoke in whispers. One girl swore she'd seen a pale man with red hair crawling through the playground tunnel. The day before, another boy told his teacher about a clown who only smiled with his eyes. Adults dismissed them as frightened imaginations. But Eric knew better. Something was hunting them. Eric had once laughed at clowns. Now he couldn't even look at a circus poster without nausea crawling up his spine. His younger brother Milo had disappeared 2 months ago, playing alone in their backyard. There was no break-in, no signs of a struggle. The only thing left behind was a small plush clown with mismatched button eyes, placed deliberately on Milo's swing. Eric stopped grieving. He started researching. His bedroom became a war room. Strings connected push pins on maps. News clippings covered the wall. Another child gone. No leads in fourth disappearance. Panic in Holloridge. Police had no suspect. No pattern, but Eric saw it. All the kids disappeared near wooded areas and always after someone reported. Seeing red balloons, he'd become obsessed. His parents said he needed therapy. His teachers called him distracted, but Eric didn't care. He felt it in his bones something. Monstrous was hiding behind a painted face, and no one else would stop it. He started keeping journals, gathering photos. He even downloaded police scanner apps and joined online forums of missing children's cases. And always the red balloons. It was after midnight when Eric crept out of his house. He rode his old BMX bike down the cracked pavement, flashlight clipped to his jacket, and a bat tied to the side of his backpack. He wasn't sure what he'd find at Holloridge Park, but something was calling him back. The moonlight filtered through a thin mist, crawling along the ground. The jungle gym creaked with no one on it. Swings moved slightly despite the still air. Then he heard it. Laughter. Not cheerful laughter, something. Sharper, high-pitched and layered, like multiple voices laughing at once. He turned slowly toward the trees and saw it. A single red balloon hovered midair, unmoving, no string, no stick. It just floated. Eric stepped forward, heart racing, hands trembling. And then the air went cold. The giggling stopped. Silence. A shadow moved among the trees. Not walking, skittering. The figure crawled on all fours, limbs too long and bent at unnatural angles. As it came closer, Eric saw the face porcelain white skin with cracked paint. A grotesque mouth smeared in red that stretched from cheek to cheek, and yellow eyes that didn't blink. Frozen in place. Eric could only watch. Then, without moving its lips, the clown whispered from the trees, "Come play, Eric." He dropped his flashlight and ran like hell. The next morning, Eric couldn't stop shaking. He tried to tell his parents, but stopped. How could he explain that a clown monster spoke to him without moving its mouth? Instead, he biked to the edge of town where an old contact, Officer Lane, worked night security at the police station. Eric had helped Lane's daughter with tutoring and once snuck into the archives with his keycard. Tonight, he used that favor. He slipped inside and dug through boxes labeled open child cases. One thick folder held a weather-stained journal recovered near the creek belonging to Timmy Heller, the third kid to disappear. It was filled with childlike drawings and broken crayons, balloon clusters tied to stick figures. A figure in a ruffled collar with red claws for fingers. "He talks in my dad's voice," one page read. Another had a full-page red smear beneath the words, "He comes when I sleep." But the worst was a crude map, scrawled with stars in the forest near Holleridge, and the words, "Where the laughs are." At the center of the map was a scribbled circus tent. Eric felt bile rise in his throat. There was no circus in town. There hadn't been one in over a decade. Something was luring children into the woods with balloons, disguises, and voices they trusted, and they were never coming back. Eric couldn't sleep. He stared at the journal drawings until the sun rose. When the fog began to clear, he knew he needed proof. Real, undeniable proof. Not just blurry sightings or crayon pages. He spent the next day building a decoy, a mannequin, the size of a child, stuffed with clothing, rigged with a motion-sensing camera in its chest. He dressed it in Milo's old striped hoodie, placed it at the base of the oak where Robbie disappeared, and then he waited Dot from behind the bushes. Eric sat with his camera feed open. Hours passed. Around 3 a.m., the air grew dense, like it was, pushing in on him. Then the balloon appeared rising from the ground, on its own, slowly, silently. The clown stepped out behind it. Dot it didn't walk. It glided. The clown tilted its head, observing the mannequin. Its face was cracked like aged porcelain, its eyes pitch black. It sniffed the air like a predator, then turned to look directly at Eric's camera. Its lips curled slowly into a jagged smile, and in a distorted, childish voice, it whispered, "You're next." The mannequin burst into flames.